Thanks for tuning into the NBA here on 2K Sports. The weekend of hoops continues. It's Tony Parker and the San Antonio Spurs going up against the New York Knicks. And we're ready for tip in New York City. Kevin Harlan and the crew with a call.
Thank you for tuning into this Sunday afternoon 2K Sports edition of the NBA. With Doris Burke from the sideline and by my side, Steve Kerr and Clark Kelly. This is Kevin Harlan.
The Knicks here to defend home court, playing host to the Western Conference.
Looking at the starting five for the San Antonio Spurs. Brought to you by State Farm. McDyess and Duncan, they're inside. Manu and Jefferson on the wings. And it's Parker in at the one. And for the Knicks, Billups and Fields pairing up in the backcourt. Stoudemire and Turioff in the middle. And it's Anthony in at the three spot.
Well, you know, it was interesting. The Knicks did not come up with more wins than losses against the West last year. But they were almost 500, 14-16 against the Western Conference.
It'll be the Knicks off the tip. Stoudemire dishes to Turioff. Outside, Billups. Here's Anthony. Rebounded by Manu Ginobili. More on the Knicks and the West. For the East, that was one of their better records against the Western Conference.
Well, it makes sense. The Knicks have the style and mentality to play a more Western-type game. In other words, getting up and down the floor, scoring big points, and really running as hard as you can on every possession.
And the first shot of the night for him, missing. And so here is New York. Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Well, Kevin, Greg Popovich had a few moments to share with me. Their main focal point is going to be defense, according to him. He said, I want my guys putting a body on every shooter and battling for every rebound. This could turn into a pretty physical basketball game by the sound of it, guys.
Terrific, Doris. Thanks. Clark, what's your take on that?
I like the mindset they're coming in right now. I think it's the right mindset. A strong defensive effort from them today. I think it's essential.
Steve?
Well, no question. If they can have success defensively, they're going to create some offensive opportunities for themselves in transition.
You know, in his Knicks playoff debut, Amari Stoudemire had a bit of the good and the bad. He played great when healthy, but back spasms really hurt him.
And back to that series in Amari. Steve, he just wasn't the same after game two.
Well, that's when he hurt his back, as Clark mentioned, and at that point he tried to tough it out, but you could tell. He was not himself. He just couldn't get it going, and without his production, the Knicks had no chance.
And both free throws good for Stoudemire.
Well, guys, it was the best start in franchise history for the Spurs last season. They got to 40 wins before the end of January. That was a team first, and finished with the second-best record in the league, 61 wins.
Now here's Parker. Ginobili with the three. Again, the miss by Ginobili. And here are the Knicks. So, Steve, a team you used to play for, the Spurs, essentially a 50-win team for the last 13 seasons, including when you played for them, but they may be nearing the end of their championship window. At least some people think that. How about you?
Well, even Tony Parker said over the summer that he didn't think the Spurs could win a championship anymore. So, what a run it's been. 50-win seasons, 13 times in a row. Just incredible. They'll still be very competitive, but this is not a championship team any longer.
And so he hits the technical free throw.
You know, it's interesting with the Spurs, how good they've been. They just don't get a lot of attention. Their games don't always draw in big TV ratings, but year after year, they seem to just fly under the radar.
Jared Jeffries, who's checked in for the Knicks. Walker comes in for Landry Fields. Here's Anthony. Just 5 to shoot. Here's Jeffries. With the clock winding down, Carmelo throws it down. Here's Ginobili. Right around, 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And here's McDyess. Ginobili kicks to Duncan. From down low, can't get it to go. Knicks will take it the other way. So, Clark, when you look at the Spurs, why is it, do you think, that they haven't captured the imagination of some fans?
Well, I mean, most casual fans and even some of the more ardent, rabid fans are more intrigued and excited by much more flash. And
I'm talking nationally, man, not locally, but nationally.
Oh, yeah, exactly right. So that's what I'm saying, that those folks tend to get hung up and enamored with the highlights and the real high-profile type stars. And quite honestly, it just doesn't sell as much across the country. But for those of us who enjoy basketball, know basketball, appreciate all the work that goes into it, they are a model franchise and one of the outstanding sports franchises in all the sports, in my opinion.
Well said.
Well, not the best defensive scheme, and it results in a wide-open look.
Anthony, right side. Puts it up. Duncan with the block. San Antonio trailing here. Parker kicks to Ginobili. He's picked up by Walker. Outside Jefferson. Great ball movement. Shot clock at 6. Here's Ginobili. Fires top of the key. And Parker with the basket on the assist by Ginobili. It's all knotted up. Here's Billups. 1:37 left in the first.
Well, you look at the Spurs and you wonder how have they been so dominant these years. And it helps when you get a guy like Tony Parker with the 28th pick in the draft, a guy who's been an all-star a few times.
Now here's Billups. Stoudemire right side over Duncan. And Stoudemire with the basket on the assist by Billups.
Tell you what, there's not much he can't do out there, guys.
Clark, you mentioned Parker's draft. He did fly under the radar, but that San Antonio team, Steve, once again uncovering a gem.
Well, not a lot of guards had found success since coming over from Europe. More big men if you look at history, but Parker really was one of the few exceptions. I mean, he came over here and immediately started for the Spurs and has been an all-star caliber player ever since.
And San Antonio calls the first time out of the game.
Well, fellas, you know, Melo coming over to the Knicks, the big story around the league, really, as the Knicks like to make headlines, and they did with that move. Some, though, can criticize New York for being more concerned with being on the front page than actually winning. I'm not sure I quite agree with that, but certainly some people may have felt that way.
Williams checks in for the Knicks. Douglas comes in for Chauncey Billups. The Spurs also changing it up. DeJuan Blair, he's checked in for Duncan. McDyess comes in for Splitter. And Gary Neal subbed in for Tony Parker. Here's Ginobili. He's picked up by Walker. Now here's Ginobili. Not a lot of room. Neal. Left side Jefferson. 5 to shoot. And the go-ahead bucket, no good. That's what you brought up. They have always tried to be a part of big trades that are being discussed. Sometimes they work, Steve, and sometimes they don't for that team.
Yeah, but anytime you have a chance to get a superstar like Carmelo Anthony or like Amari Stoudemire, I think you go ahead and do it. And so New York is set up now for some success over the coming years, but we'll see how they go forward and what kind of roster they put around their 2 stars.
And so here is San Antonio. The Knicks making the shot. San Antonio again missing. And here they come. Williams passes to Jeffries. Stolen by Ginobili. Spurs trail by 4. Clark, this offense has really been clicking.
No doubt about it, giving the defense all kinds of trouble.
And they're playing with so much energy offensively. The ball is really moving.
McDyess, good.
Now, he will eat you alive unless you play him tougher defensively.
Douglas for 3. No good, trying to beat the buzzer. The first quarter all wrapped up, and it's been an exciting game so far. Knicks out front, up by 2.
A lot of hard work being put in on the glass. This is a very physical team. They're doing a nice job in the paint.
Yeah, and I think they're doing a good job gang rebounding too, Steve. Everybody's boxing out down there.
And we'll return momentarily. Neither team able to build much of a lead up to this point as we start the second quarter. Here's Parker.
You know, I think in Tony Douglas, the Knicks got a great find in the 2009 draft. He was the 29th pick. Pretty gutty defender, but a terrific scorer.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade as the second quarter gets going. Setting the floor for the Knicks. Douglas and Fields, their men in the backcourt. Anthony out there with Turiaf. And it's Williams at the small forward. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot 2. Clark talking about Tony Douglas on a Florida State, a combo guard, Steve, and he's not a great playmaker yet, but he does do a great job of limiting his turnovers.
Well, he understands his limitations as a point guard, but he really focuses on his outside shot offensively. He's shooting about 38% from long range for his career, and a guy who can get extremely hot pretty much any time. Very streaky shooter. And the Knicks last season did not use their bench very often, kind of typical of a Mike D'Antoni team. He relies heavily on his starters, and that was the case a year ago.
That one is no good. Steve, back to what you were saying about that New York Knicks bench. You know, a big part of that was they were so short-handed. Remember Clark when they got that trade and trying to, bring Melo up to speed on what they were doing?
No question. I mean, it got them Melo that trade, but it also left a few players tired because they lost some of their bench depth. Could have been why they saw so many late-season injuries as players were maybe a bit worn out. You think about Chauncey Billups going down late. Interesting discussion.
Here's Anthony following the basket by Tim Duncan. Launches a 3. That drops. Williams has got himself on the board with 3 there. Spurs trail by 3. And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Kevin, one of the storylines that emerged last year for the Spurs was that they wanted to get easier buckets. In order to do so, they hoped to utilize Richard Jefferson out in transition and take advantage of his athleticism. Greg Popovich said, "We work too hard to score. We're more built for it than we have been in the past." We'll see, guys, if it plays again this season.
Thanks, Doris. You really don't think of the Spurs as a team to get up and down.
Well, surprising goal given the age of their team.
And you can count it. He'll go to the line with a chance to make it 3.
Boy, what a significant turnaround here in the second quarter after only making 40% from the field in the first. Kevin, the results were somewhat mixed once the Knicks acquired Carmelo Anthony. They finished the season 14-14 after the trade and, of course, got swept in the first round by the Celtics.
Here's what San Antonio's going with right now. Splitters checked in for Blair. Jefferson comes in for Antonio McDyess. And it's Ginobili in for Tony Parker. Well, Clark, you mentioned the playoff series between the Knicks and the Celtics. Carmelo struggled with his shot. Steve, just 37% from the field.
Well, the Celtics are a very good team defensively. And I think for Carmelo, remember, he had to take on a lot of the scoring load because of the back injury to Amari Stoudemire. So I thought Carmelo played well, but the defensive focus of Boston was completely on him.
Douglas kicks to Turiaf. Anthony backing him down. And he was camped in the lane there, and he gets the 3-second call. A different look for New York. Stoudemire's checked in for Sean Williams. Walker comes in for Landry Fields. And Chauncey Billups is subbed in for Tony Douglas. Here's Neal. Here's Ginobili, and the rejection by Stoudemire. The Knicks leading by 6. Left side, Billups. Here's Turiaf, and Strong with the one-handed jam.
Boy, they're showing some confidence here.
Yeah, they are. A lot of confidence, guys. I mean, starting to pull away, too. 25-16 were the Spurs on the road last season, guys. That tied for the 5th best road record in the league.
Time called here. The Spurs decide to talk it over. And, Clark, I think a lot of that is veteran discipline. You talk about the Spurs and how well they played away from San Antonio.
Yep.
Yeah,
Steve, I know you've been through that, played with veteran teams that played well on the road.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Kevin. I mean, you got veterans. You execute. You never fear anything. You know you can win. That's a team that just knows what it's doing, and that shows in their road record.
Different look for San Antonio. Matt Bonner, he's checked in for Duncan. And Tony Parker subbed in for Gary Neal. Here's Parker. And Billups picks him up defensively. Manu Ginobili on the wing. Backing down. Clock at 6. Bonner for 3. The Knicks pull it in.
Got a good look, though. I thought that was going to go down.
Now, the D may have done just enough there, Clark, to bother him and throw that shot off.
And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke for an update. Hi, Doris.
Guys, Tony Parker, a great point guard, but like the Spurs team in general, he's often overlooked. He said, when there is talk about the best point guards, sometimes they don't talk about me. But that's not my main motivation. They can talk about Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Darren Williams, and Chris Paul. I still have the most rings. And fellas, like they always say, the ring's the thing.
Well, Doris, you can't argue with that.
You know, and his story may be like those artists who aren't actually appreciated in their time. I mean, he doesn't get the attention now, but championships are the type of achievement that really live on.
Here's Stoudemire after the basket by San Antonio. And Billups hits again from deep. Billups has got 6 here in this quarter.
Well, another uncontested 3 there. They've got to make some kind of an adjustment. I mean, they're giving up way too many open 3s.
Well, the last 5 hoops, 3 had come off wide open 3-pointers, Clark. So it's one thing to give up 1, but you start giving 3-pointers up in bunches, you're in big trouble.
San Antonio calls timeout.
And the Spurs were so consistent last year against the entire league. They were 23-7.
Jared Jeffries, he's checked in for Curry. And Sean Williams subs in for Carmelo Anthony. Then for the Spurs, Tim Duncan, he's checked in for Splitter. Nick Dice comes in for Richard Jefferson. And Gary Neal subbed in for Manu Ginobili. Here's Parker. Backing him down is Duncan. Laid in with a nice touch off the glass. Duncan's got 4 points now in the quarter.
In the first, he had trouble hitting with any consistency. But here in the second, he's turned it around.
Jeffries gets to Billups. And the pass to Stoudemire. Nick Dice is there with the shot. And the Knicks getting another bucket right there.
Boy, are they on a tear.
You know what, Steven? Offensively, you sometimes don't know how or why it happens, but you just ride the wave as long as it's flowing.
Backing him down is Duncan. 4 seconds left, and it's San Antonio with another.
That's where you like to get shots, inside and close to the hoop.
It'll count. Here's Billups. Cannot hit. And so that's the end of the first half. Knicks lead by 10.
Sunday, a great day for basketball if you ask me, so let's recap all the action here on HP at the half. The Knicks are on a tear right now. A dominant offensive display through 2 quarters. They're scoring efficiently. Amari Stoudemire's having no trouble against San Antonio. He's got 8 points and the defense has been rock solid. And this dedicated Spurs team is weathering the storm. They've struggled with their 3-point shooting. Just one of those days where the shots aren't falling. Manu Ginobili still looking to get going. Another ragged shooting game for him. He's had more than a few lately. And that'll wrap it up here. Now, back to Kevin Harlan and the crew for the second half.
Now the second half about to start up and begin any moment. Here's Parker. Here's who Greg Popovich is starting in the second half. Manu and Jefferson on the wings. McDyess and Duncan, they're inside. And it's Parker in at the 1 spot. Here's McDyess. The 3 is launched. Can't get it to go.
And I think one of the reasons that Spurs had such a great season a year ago is that Manu Ginobili was ready right out of the gates. He exploded and helped the Spurs off to that incredibly hot start.
Deep 2 from Anthony. The basket good off the assist from Billups. Anthony's got the first points of the second half up on the board for the Knicks. And Steve, Manu Ginobili stayed healthy almost all the regular season. Started to leave behind his ankle issues, which Clark could really cost him, I think, some valuable time earlier in his career.
It really did, and even after a hyperextended elbow that cost him a game in the playoffs, he was the best Spur in that first-round series against the Grizzlies. So, in all, I think a pretty healthy season for Manu.
Right side, Billups. He's covered by McDyess. Billups dishes to Carmelo. Clock at 4. Takes the 3. Billups, no good. Stoudemire is whistled for the loose ball foul. That's foul number 2 for him.
A little bit reckless there, trying to get that rebound, and he gets the call for going over the top.
Yeah, he practically tackled him. I mean, he was draped all over him, Steve. That wasn't easy.
Jared Jeffries, he's checked in for the Knicks. Spurs trail by 12.
Well, you know, after the long playoff drought, the Knicks were finally back in the postseason last year. Did not quite turn out the way they hoped it would, but still, you got to think something to build on.
Now here's Duncan. He's got 6. Let's go. Hits it off the backboard. Duncan's got 8.
Guys, he's really shot the ball well. It's definitely not his fault they find themselves trailing in this one.
Yeah, back in the Knicks-Celtics series, Steve, the Knicks were swept, but they were hurt in a big way by injuries. Earlier, Clark was talking about the injured point guard Chauncey Billups. He was a big missing piece.
Yeah, he was gone after game 1. Remember, Amari Stoudemire hurt his back in game 2 and wasn't the same at that point. You keep those guys healthy, and I think that's a much more competitive series. Last season, the so-called melodrama, as Carmelo Anthony refused to sign an extension in Denver, forced his way to New York in a trade. And the story really dragged on all season long.
And, you know, Steve, talking, Clark, about the Carmelo trade saga, really an unwelcome distraction in a lot of ways. It hung over the players involved in Denver and in New York, and maybe took some attention away from the great season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. I mean, as things tend to do in this 24/7 information cycle, it just kind of lingered and hovered and hung around. But in the end, he got his way. He desired to be in New York, a place where he grew up as a kid, and that motivated him to get to that place where he kind of considers home. So I think it's a good fit. Unfortunate it took so long to happen, but the end result is a good one, I think, for him and the Knicks and hopefully the league.
Time called here. The Spurs decide to talk it over.
The Knicks struggled out of the gate last season, and D'Antoni started to feel his seat get a little warmer. I mean, you have to think that it cooled off a bit for this season, and he'll have a little more leeway.
Here's Jefferson looking for his first bucket of the game. Parker passes to Duncan. Parker, a screen on Stoudemire. Ginobili up top, covered by Anthony. 6 on the shot clock. Ginobili kicks to Parker. The jumper from the free throw line is good. Parker's got his second bucket of the night. Go back to D'Antoni. You know, Steve, he definitely should have a little bit more breathing room this year, as Parker's just talking about.
Well, we'll see. I mean, done a good job. The Knicks made the playoffs last year, but with Donnie Walsh out as general manager, he was the one who hired D'Antoni. So you never know. I mean, I think D'Antoni's a good coach. They've got plenty of talent. This should be a good year for the Knicks, but we'll see.
And the Knicks decide to take their first time out here. Bill Walker, he's checked in for the Knicks. Here's Stoudemire. He's got 8. Anthony dishes to Billups. Covered by Parker. Stoudemire, the pass to Jeffries. That's good.
Look how they've been scoring the basketball, and it's really fun to watch them because all the baskets are coming off assists.
Well, keep that in mind. I mean, they're a much more efficient team when they make that extra pass. When they get in trouble, it's when they're taking quick shots.
And it's the Spurs with the ball. The Knicks making the shot. Ginobili. That's good.
Now, they're not worried enough about him. They've got to tighten up their defense.
You know, one of the things about Manu, Kevin, is he plays the game so aggressively. I mean, that's why he's a great scorer and stat sheet stuffer, because he plays with that reckless abandon you like to see.
Here is Jeffries, guarded now by Duncan. 5 on the clock from about 16. Stoudemire, no good. But Ginobili's had some injuries too, Clark. It's one of the reasons why the Spurs have sought to limit his minutes to keep him healthy. But, Steve, those fewer minutes have taken away from the recognition he might otherwise receive.
Yeah, it could be. But, you know, last year he actually played 80 out of 82 games. So Ginobili enjoying kind of a renaissance health-wise here later in his career.
The lead now in single digits. 10 points for Duncan.
You know, that part of the floor, guys, is more or less his real sweet spot, right in his wheelhouse.
Billups against Parker. Here is Jeffries. He's covered by McDyess. Stoudemire kicks to Jeffries. Here's Billups. Great D that time from Duncan.
Great job defending the hoop there.
So important to have good presence defensively inside.
We'll see if they want to trade 2 for 1 here.
Well, you got to time up the clock. It's easier said than done, but you got to execute your offense on that first possession.
It's stolen by Jefferson. Oh! While we've got a sec, let's check out the Sprite Slam Cam.
Now that's just rubbing it in, fellas.
Throwing it down with style.
These folks are not going to forget that one anytime soon.
We've got 33 seconds left in the third quarter. Now Billups. He's got 7. And Walker kicks to Anthony. Stoudemire left side. Will it go? That's in there. Anthony with the assist. That's 10 points for Stoudemire.
Well, they've done a lot of their damage from mid-range here, guys. I mean, knocking down those shots with regularity.
Yeah, how about 8 of their last 10 points, guys, coming off that mid-range area jump shot. So shows you don't have to be at the rim to score.
Ginobili drops in the layup for 2. Ginobili's got his 3rd basket of the night.
You know, when there's little or no D on this guy and he's headed to the rim, just chalk it up and go on.
And that's it for the 3rd quarter. Both teams scoring well as we head to the 4th. You have to like what we're seeing from Carmelo Anthony.
Now, it's been nothing but positive for this team. The way he's been really selective with his shot making. He's been very unselfish. I think this has been an efficient performance for him.
I agree with you, Steve. Very few questionable decisions, if any, from him, as he has always looked for the best shot every trip down the floor. I mean, I like the fact that he's judicious in his approach.
Back in a moment from New York. And now let's send it to our sideline reporter Doris Burke for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, well, our spark of the game goes to the Knicks for that major surge. Their advantage was built through their defense, namely that great second quarter when nothing got by them. They parlayed that great run into the lead they now have. Can they keep it? We'll see.
Okay, Doris, thank you. And that run, Clark, really changed the complexion of this game.
Yeah, it sure did. I thought it stirred something up in them that got them on a good run.
Yeah, got the ball rolling for them, and they were able to keep it going from there, guys.
So with Anthony sitting on the bench, here's the 5 for Mike D'Antoni right now. Stoudemire and Turioff in the middle. Douglas and Fields, their men in the backcourt. And it's Williams at the 3, the small forward. Now here's Ginobili. Passes it to Duncan. Over Stoudemire. And Duncan with the basket on the assist by Ginobili. Ginobili's got his 3rd assist on the night. Douglas with it. And Turioff backs down. Stolen by Ginobili.
And, you know, despite the number of turnovers, Kevin, they've still got the lead here.
Well, eventually, guys, you know those mistakes will come back and haunt you, so they've got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball.
Williams up on top. Jefferson picks him up. Here is Turioff. 6 to shoot. New York needs to get off a shot. Outside, Fields. Spurs trail by 4. Here's Neal. Gets the bucket from 20 feet away.
They've raised their field goal percentage just above 50% here. They actually look like a totally different team than what we saw in the first half. Much better execution offensively.
New York calls timeout.
He wants to make a few adjustments out there, and he's running through those with his team right now.
Catch up with Doris from the sideline.
Thank you, Kevin. I was able to listen in on what Mike D'Antoni had to say to his team. He tried to keep things pretty light, actually, saying, this is when it gets fun, guys. If you're not enjoying this, then you don't love the game. Now go out there and finish these guys off. Gentlemen.
Catching up on the changes for New York. Jeffries comes in for Ronny Turioff. And it's Walker in for Landry Fields. Now here's Stoudemire, a 10-footer, and the Knicks miss again. They are right on the brink of taking the lead.
This is a critical juncture in this ballgame, Kevin.
The Knicks with the lead, and they're pushing it up. Terrific assist, a nice finish. Solid play all around.
It's been a complete game for him, hasn't it?
Yep, I agree with you there. I mean, he's been in the middle of everything going on.
Ginobili kicks to Parker. And there's the feed to Blair. Feeds it to Ginobili. Ginobili right side. Wide open look. And it's San Antonio with another.
After a subpar first half, I like the way he's been much more aggressive here in the second, finding a way to hit his shots and get more shots.
And here's Douglas. Stoudemire backing him down. Lets it go with the three. And it goes out of bounds following the shot. A different look for New York. Sheldon Williams checks in for Stoudemire. Anthony comes in for Jared Jeffries. And Chauncey Billups is subbed in for Bill Walker. Here's Green. Close game. Narrow deficit right now. There's the triple. It's rebounded by New York. 13 points was their biggest lead in the game. Now Williams. Blair against Anthony. And it's Anthony slamming it down. Now let's check out the Spark Slam Cam.
Well, that's a dunk you will not see very often. You won't pass that one by.
No doubt about that.
I wish he would, though. You can never see too many of those.
San Antonio calls timeout. They're down by 4. There's a minute 47 left to play in the final quarter. Stoudemire's checked in for Sheldon Williams. So San Antonio going with an almost entirely new group here. There's a minute 47 left in the fourth quarter. There's the pick. McDyess with the ball. Backing him down is Duncan. There's Neal with the three. No good. And New York takes it the other way. It's tipped. Williams dishes to Stoudemire. Williams kicks to Billups. Anthony working against Ginobili. Lets it go. A shot by Anthony, no good.
I'll tell you what, for what's really an elementary shot, he looked a little nervous on that release.
The Knicks leading by 4. Everybody's running. Outside, Billups. Anthony. He gathers. And yes, a nice assist from Billups.
Love the finish there. Not much defense, though.
Less than 1 minute left. Backing him down is Duncan. Running by Stoudemire. Duncan misses. And so they choose to intentionally foul. 41 seconds left to play here in the fourth. There's the double team with Ginobili. The steal, and they're moving it up for the finish. Count it!
That's how it works. Your defense feeds into the offense.
Yeah, you know, excellent work, I thought. Solid work on both ends in that particular sequence.
Here's Billups, and they go to the intentional foul.
That's his second personal. Second team foul. At the line for Knicks, Chauncey Billups. 2 shots.
Sinks the first one, and that puts them up by 5. Two for 2, and it's a 6-point ball game.
Nice job to make them all. That's a big play to extend their lead.
They've definitely hit that groove offensively.
They sure have, guys. I mean, really aggressive. And I like that posture and mindset. Stay aggressive.
Yeah.
Steve, you like groove, don't you?
I do. I love groove, Kevin, and I love the attack mode this team is in, too. I mean, they're really getting into the paint. They're getting whatever they want offensively.
And now they decide to foul intentionally.
I know you have to foul, but you don't want to hit a good foul shooter like that.
Yeah, you'd much rather have somebody else get to the line than this guy. He's an excellent free throw shooter.
Good on the first, and that puts them up by 5. Hits them both, and it's a 6-point ballgame. Time called here. The Spurs decide to talk it over. They're behind by 6. 23 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Guys, your thoughts?
I think they have to go for a 3 right now, don't you, Clark?
Yeah, I don't think they have any choice but to go for the 3, Steve.
Here's Ginobili. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
There's a lot of contact there. Good call.
You know, he bothered his shot, but he still got a pair of free throws out of it.
It's the first that brings them within 5. Both free throws good from Ginobili. Here's Billups. And now an intentional foul. They need the ball back as soon as possible.
A good foul. You've got to stop the clock in this situation.
Exactly, Steve. I mean, the clock is their biggest ally right now. They need as much time as they can.
Sinks the first one, and that puts them up by 5. And the second one is off. And it's the Spurs with the ball, trailing by 5. Williams is tagged with the reach. So that will be his second foul of the game. We're in the bonus, and we'll go to the line to shoot 2. Good on the first, and that narrows the gap to 4. That one falls, so he hits both of them.
Taking full advantage of the charity stripe here. Stretching that margin to 3.
New York calls timeout. They're leading by 3. 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And an intentional foul there stops the clock.
First foul. Timeout. That's his fifth personal. 15. Shooting for New York. Chauncey Billups. 2 shots.
Sinks the first one, and that gives him a 4-point cushion. Perfect from the line, and it's a 5-point ball game.
And that'll do it, Kevin. Those last free throws were the icing on the cake.
So it's New York picking up the win. They came, they saw, they conquered.
Hey, Kevin, to me, any win is a good win.
And that'll do it for Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke. This is Kevin Harlan. Thanks for watching this presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports. And now we present the Jordan Player of the Game, Chauncey Billups.
Okay, I'm right back.